Blessing Soul Family, welcome to A New You Makeover podcast, upgrading human potential. I'm Megan, and I invite you to join the anti-aging revolution. Before we begin, let's take a moment to connect to our home frequency as we expand our consciousness and become limitless. Let's place our hands on our hearts. Take a deep breath in. We ask to resonate in the frequency of eternity as we reflect our new earth reality. Thank you. I love you. It is done. Now let's start living our highest potential. Today, we're talking with Zerian Radian about the critical role nutrition plays in our journey to higher consciousness. Zerian is a transformational alchemist that helps to elevate the changemakers of the world to their highest potentials through BioPhoton Nutrition, soul metamorphosis, and transmutation. He sees the body as a holy temple and a sacred gateway to expand ourselves to higher consciousness and higher beingness, to access and elevate our higher talents so we can all make a bigger impact in the world. He believes we are all superheroes, here to change the world so we can create a new reality for planet Earth. Zerian will shatter all your illusions in his quest to awaken humanity to their inner superhero. He unleashes a treasure trove of alchemical secrets so you can ignite your highest potentials and make your greatest impact for the world. If you're ready to finally unleash your superhero and create a ripple that the whole world will feel, then Zerian is the catalyst you have been waiting for. Zerian, welcome to A New You Makeover.
Thank you for having me, Megan. Appreciate it.
We're so excited to have you here. I've really been looking forward to talking with you. I just feel that health, nutrition is always a hot topic. And many of us know when we eat well, we feel better. And you're taking that to a whole new level and connecting it to our ability to reach higher consciousness and evolve. So to kick us off today, I wanted to ask you, does our nutrition impact our evolution?
Yes, times a million. Everything you ingest is affecting your brain chemistry. Everything you ingest is either uplifting your vibration or it's pulling it down. So what most people aren't aware of is that your body is actually assimilating light and consciousness from food. We're supposed to be taking food, light and consciousness from food. So if we take a look at what nature has produced, let's say a fruit, it's a complete packet of synergistic ingredients. And in those ingredients, there's also this thing called life force. People call it life force. The Asian cultures call it chi. And in chi, it's not just energy, there's light and consciousness there and information that our bodies need to thrive. So the main problem with current society and food, the food and water supply is it's dead, has no life force. So it can't activate our higher potentials. It can't activate our DNA and pineal gland to connect to higher source. So if we look out in society, what's happening right now is there are health epidemics that continue to rise despite the large volumes of health information, health products, and health experts. And so we need to go higher at this point in the game. We need the next evolution of our food supply because that directly impacts our body's ability to connect higher. And so for me, true expansion and evolution happens inside the body through the DNA and brain, pineal gland, endocrine system. Your brain is producing a cornucopia of amazing biochemicals, and most of the food supply shuts that down, keeps it dormant. And so this is what I see with a lot of people. Even conscious people, they're struggling. And I did this for 15 years. You know, we're higher vibe beings. We need high vibe nutrition and constituents to activate us. And I just felt really off for 15 years, health conditions, spent tens of thousands of dollars, went to holistic practitioners. And some of those modalities helped just a little, but I never really felt well inside my body. And I also was having deep emotional, mental disturbances, which I didn't know where were coming from. And I almost thought I was on my way out. I didn't think my body could handle all the stresses and tensions that were running through my body. And then one day a voice inside said, "Who do you think you are?" And then that moment, I was like, "Oh, I'm a high vibe being." I called it a superhero. We're superheroes, but I wasn't giving my body and my being what I needed to activate my superhero. So I started delving into alchemy. And that's when it was like a light switch, like, oh, now I get it. And so as soon as I started alchemizing my meals and started creating my own elixirs and imbuing everything with light and consciousness, that's when I started rebooting. And so most of humanity is unaware of what's going on. So the food supply is genetically altered. It's processed. Just look at the results. And even organic is hybridized. Most people, they want to argue, but it's hybridized nutrition. Those seedlings are altered. It's the same thing as being GMO. So those geometries, the molecular structure is not recognizable to our cells. So all this stuff is creating incoherence in our body, and it's densifying us. It's creating toxins in our body. And so the results are we have health epidemics that continue to rise despite the large volumes of health information. So for me, the magic happens when you start bringing in light and consciousness into your body, and the body can do what it's designed. So our first ingredient our bodies want is light and information. It's called, some people call it life force. The Asian cultures call it chi. In chi, it's energy, consciousness, light, and information. It's this high vibe charged. And I've seen under an electron microscope, if you take a look at minerals in an electron microscope, you see this biofield around the nutrient, and it's supposed to attach to the receptor sites of your cells. And what happens is there's an exchange of information. Once that exchange of information happens, that mineral falls off as waste. So our bodies don't want the actual mineral. It wants the light and the life force around that mineral. That's what our bodies take in. And now the body produces its own amino acids and enzymes. And so our bodies are it's an immaculate divine creation. And if people only knew just what your body's doing, they would marvel. I marvel at all times. It's the most amazing creation in the entire universe. And if people only were conscious of that fact, I think they would treat it a lot better, because a lot of people are not really treating it too well, or they're caught in a paradigm. I see a lot of people caught in a paradigm, and they think this is healthy because this is what society says. But then I look at the person's body and I go, your body's telling you that's not for you. So I'm not here to tell people what to put in their holy temple. But when I look at a person and I can feel your body's in degeneration mode, you're not really well. You look at you. So for me, it's like you need to listen to your body. Your body's a feedback mechanism. So how do you look? How do you feel? And that'll determine. So if you're inputting a certain type of nutrition, how are your nails? How are your eyes? How are they clear? How's your vibe? Are you glowing? Well, then what you're doing is probably well. But most people are doing so-called healthy, and they don't look too well. They're overweight, or they have, acne, and they're caught in a paradigm. I've had so many friends, they're vegan and they're vegetarian and they're raw. But then the results are showing something else in their body. So for me, it's like, you got to listen to your body and listen to your constitution, and that will determine what nutrition lifestyle serves you best. And some people want to argue, but you can't argue against your own well-being, and I did this for a little while in exploring. I tried all the eating styles, and I always knew what was ideal for me, but as a curiosity to let me see. And when I started trying to go into these hard, these rigid, these nutrition lifestyles, I was feeling off. And so for me, I came back to, it's about balance, and my body needs certain constituents, and I'm not going to try to be morally correct. If you try to be morally correct, you're going to get your butt whooped. So for me, I went through 15 years. That's enough. I'm here to thrive. And sometimes you have to intake things that you might think are morally incorrect. I'm sorry, but I didn't create the food supply. I didn't correct how our bodies are designed. I didn't create how our bodies are designed. We have a process, and sometimes you need to intake certain constituents to help your body to thrive. And if you feel that's off, that's great, but don't. My viewpoint to people is, don't do something that you're wrecking your health. And how can you go out and be who you're meant to be if you're feeling off? And again, I've been through 15 years of it, so I've mastered this topic. Is you need to listen and honor your body for what it is. And sometimes your constitution might need certain ingredients that you might think are not ideal for you. So,
well, and I think it's true and interesting, but I think what you're saying, because I've had this happen even with myself, I think if you truly listen, and it's easy to follow the fad or latch onto these certain things or try the, vegetarian or paleo or whatever it is out there. But you as an individual kind of know this is serving me or it isn't. And you need to listen to that first. And then you take it the step further when you say alchemize. So are you that before you ingest the food or as you're preparing the food? So I buy organic, or you do the best you can with the produce in the store and you wash it. So then you're saying you need to infuse it with your light and energy, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So here's the deal. Everything is picking up frequency, even food and water. Like, it's already been proven, water picks up vibrations, it picks up frequency, but also food, because food has water in it. And so you have to think about, where does that food come from? How long has it taken to be on trucks? Who has touched that food? Because anybody who touches it is emitting emotions and thought forms. And if somebody's not having a good day, that's going into the food. So for me, before I go even into ingesting my food, even while I'm making my food, I'm going into this high vibe state. I'll either play some high vibe music or I'll be singing, humming, but you have to prepare yourself to go into that, because everything you touch gets imprinted. And so I had a restaurant and I did this with my food, and people would be flabbergasted, like, what are you doing with this meal? Like, I've eaten this 500 times at so many other restaurants. Why is yours in a league into itself? And because I was clearing all that food that was coming into my restaurant, and I was imbuing it with frequency and consciousness and light. And what is amazing is your food has the ability to alter your personality. Okay, I had a restaurant in Scottsdale, and there was a lot of kind of rich, I call them kind of snobby. They're rich, and they're kind of not so conscious. And I had the one episode, the woman came in and she was just like, she was complaining, blah, 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 blah. And so I'm like, wait till she eats this meal. I'm going to knock her socks off, right? So she ordered the meal, and I observed her in the beginning, and she was kind of, just a little, I call it being a little snobby, just not so nice to people. She was kind of like, complaining and stuff. And then she had the meal, and would you believe that she asked to see me? And I went out there, and would you believe she was like a little girl? Her whole energy and vibration had changed, and her demeanor had changed, that she was looking at me with respect. She goes, I just wanted to thank you for this meal. She goes, I've never had something that healthy and delicious like this. But she was so jovial that you could just tell I could tell from 50 feet away, her whole complexion and her personality had changed. So what happens is, when we intake this higher resonance through our food, through our nutrition, through our water, it impacts your brain, it impacts your DNA, but it helps you to be a higher being. It's just automatic. And so this is what I used to do in my restaurant, but I do this even when I cook for friends or family. Everyone's like, wow, this is yummy. What are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm alchemizing it. And I'm preparing it for your holy temple so that it uplifts you instead of pulling you down. Because if you eat regular food and regular water, it's going to densify you. It pulls your vibration. Why? Because there's no life force in there. So the life force in a constituent activates the nutrients in that food. And it helps you, right? When you ingest it, it helps your body to digest it, process it, and actually gives you energy. But if the food is dead and it's altered, it's GMO, go look at society, what's happening. We have an overweight, depleted society, depressed. And the main result is because people are so dense. They're so bogged with toxins and parasites and calcifications. You can't be a streaming light. You can't amplify your light if you have all this dense stuff, if you're dense like that. So for me, I come along and go, all right, let's get your body illuminated. So right. I come in, I start altering their nutrition, but then I also have my own alchemical I have my Aqualite. It's an alchemical liquid tincture that you can spray under your tongue, or you would put it in your water and then entrain your water. And I've had miracles just happen with that. People come back and go, what are you putting in here? And I'm like, nothing physically, it's just frequency and light. And they're like, I feel awesome. I'm like, yes, because now your body and brain are getting the hydration and the information. Now your body can take over and do what it's supposed to do. It's very simple, but society has made nutrition complex and hard. And we have this paradigm and that one and this holy. Where's the proof? That's what the one question. If all this health information out there is so great, where are all the fit, healthy, radiant people? Did they move to some island and they're holding the secret to themselves? It's getting worse each year, and it's even kids now. It's horrendous. 9 out of 10 kids, when I look, they're overweight or they just look groggy. And you know, these kids are supposed to be thriving. They're the next generation bringing in creative ideas, and the food supply is taking them out. It's literally suppressing their superpowers. And sometimes I have to I can't even look, because it's like, I know that kid has so high potential, but look at what he's had: sugar, coffee drinks, sweetened drinks, candy bars. All that stuff is literally altering their personality. So now they can't be who they're meant to be. And if they continue down that route, they're going to be enormous by the time they're an adult, and they're never going to shine their truth of who they're here to be. And I see that with a lot of people, a lot of kids especially. They're just so dumb, like they're subdued, like they're just so bogged down. And I look at what they're inputting in their bodies, and I'm like, well, you know, is it any wonder? You know, so.
Right. I love your passion. Just, you know, you're a wealth of knowledge, that's obvious. And you're here helping individuals. And I know on your website, you have tons of information, which we can get into in a little bit. So how did this start for you? Like when what set you off? I know you said 15 years of struggling, but like, what is your story? Where did this all begin?
Well, as a kid, I remember being 5 and starting to make my own meals. You know, I mean, I come from an Italian family. My mom made her own homemade bread and cheeses, and my dad made a homemade wine. We had our own garden. So I grew up kind of eating healthy to begin with, but there was something in me that I just was playing around with food. And then my father purchased a pizzeria the one year. And then even when in the pizzeria, I would be in the back making these interesting looking like strombolis and pizzas, and I would add all these healthy ingredients and I throw it in the oven. So I've always been this alchemist, always exploring and seeing how our nutrition is important. So I've always had an affinity toward, you know, health and wellness. I was always outside playing, and I worked out, and I played hockey, and I even created my own games. I was this wizard with just creating my own game, always playing. But then went into college and came out of college and started feeling really off. And I'm like, this is odd. Let's see, I work out 4 days a week. I'm eating pretty healthy. What's going on? And it took me a while to put the pieces together that, number one, I was, cause I was empathic. I had guarded myself, and I was taking a lot of people's energies on. And in doing that, I became retreated, because I'm pretty loud and boisterous, and I can be, you know, I'm pretty amplified. But what happened going through school and growing up is because I was empathic, I took that as, it was very scary, I guess, because I felt so many energies. So I started retreating, and I became very shy and introverted, which is not my true nature. So I altered myself to try to kind of deal with all these energies that I was sensitive to. And then I would go home, and I was too much energy for my parents, so they would scold me. And then I'd go to school, and the teachers couldn't handle it. They'd put me in the corner, or they'd give me detention. And I'm this ball of light, and I'm just this ball of energy, and you want me to sit in this little seat for 8 hours? Are you kidding me? So it caused me to kind of retreat. And then in going through my family, it was a lot of chaos and just kind of pulling, but taking on a lot of people's stuff. And so again, over the years, it took a toll where I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. So I buried everything and put it in, and eventually it weakened my body. And then that on top of when they started coming out with all these electromagnetic frequencies, the cell towers and stuff, that's when I really was getting walloped. And I didn't put the pieces together until after. I'm like, oh, this is what's going on with the cell towers. And then even the chemtrails, when they started spraying the sky, that's when, but I didn't know it at that point. It was after the fact I started going, oh, all this disharmonic stuff is impacting, because I'm a high vibe being, and all this stuff is scattered. And then took me so many years, 15 years of like, what is going on? And finally, when I started uncovering, okay, got the chemtrails, okay, I'm going to neutralize that. And then, these EMFs, as soon as I started harmonizing myself and alchemizing all my meals, then I became more of an, I think Jules calls it being a superconductor, yeah. Right? Uh-huh. When you're a superconductor, that stuff can't touch you. Because right. You're so much, you're vibing so high that stuff is like, it like bounces off. So
well, and I think, in the nutrition world, people are constantly, or just in general, we want something from outside of ourselves. but everything we need is within, but you have to know how to channel that and to find it, right? It's kind of what you're saying, and to take care of yourself.
Yeah. So for me, your health starts with your consciousness. How are you carrying your energy, and how are you using your consciousness? Because most people, they're popping the supplements or eating organic food and they still don't feel well. It's like, but you're tense, you're tight in your body. You're this is what I was doing years ago. I was like this, I had built up this energetic wall, and I was like, hi. It's like rigid, and people could feel it. So that tenseness kills your body. It constricts your meridians, which doesn't allow energy to flow. You need to be relaxed and chill. When you're in this relaxed state, you're a powerhouse. But I grew up in a family where it was all serious and tense and screaming, and it's like, okay. So I was like, hi, how are you? And that energetic armor is what hurts most people, and they don't know. And it will limit your ability to manifest too, because when you're tense, you're putting out that vibration. The universe gives you more to be tense about. So for me, it took me a while to just be okay. Everything's cool, and I'm own myself now. Before growing up, I didn't have good modeling. So it's like you take things personally, and everyone goes through it. You're not good enough. You need, you just don't feel good enough. And then it took me a while to finally go, I'm a badass superhero. I don't need anybody else to approve of me. My opinion matters to me the most. So now, and some people, when I say this, they get kind of pissed, because see, deep inside of them, they haven't come to this realization, is if you don't feel good and love and honor yourself, how are you going to love and honor someone else? So for me, the greatest gift is you need to own who you are and love yourself, because then you can go out and love and honor other people. But most people are trying to do it but backwards. They're trying to love and honor other people without taking care of themselves. You come first. I come first. And I tell this to everyone. I come first. I need to be well and sane and coherent, because then I can turn around and serve you. But if I'm all scatterbrained and I don't love and honor myself, how can I help another person? It just doesn't work. And I see too many people doing that. They might have the money, they might have the fame, but then it's like, I read their frequency. It's like, wait, you're incongruent. I feel a funny vibe. You're not inside. There's something going on. And so we need to come back to center, and we are awesome, and we need to own it, and we need to put it out there. And some people are going to judge you. They're going to go, who are you to think you're awesome? Well, I'm a badass superhero. Who are you? Oh, you're this victim, right? And guess what? The universe is going to make you a victim for the rest of your life until you change that posture. And I see way too many people. And again, I've been through it. Victim. If you put out victim posture, guess what? The universe goes, oh, okay, I'll give you more to be a victim about. And it doesn't feel good. And it's going to keep walloping you until you wake up and drop. You are here to be a model of a higher expression of a human being, which is God-like. And if you're not going to attain that level, get out of the way, because the universe is going to wallop you, and let us superheroes take over. Us superheroes are going to have all the fun. You can watch the party bus go by.
I love that. It's true though. And I think we're seeing that, and it's a big shift, and some people are just really struggling and wallowing in this. And then others, I think you have to know it's not the victim. That's not going to help any of us to have that mentality. And we are in control, and we have a choice. We always have the choice. Yeah. So I know you have, for those who are, listening and they want to jump in on this, you have some great information and even some freebies on your website. If they're like, okay, I've been putting all this energy in, I'm trying to be healthy, help me out. Where can they find more about you and this information?
You can go to my website, ZerianRadian.com. And I have a few masterclass giveaways that just giving you a new perspective about your body, your nutrition, and how to use your consciousness. So there's some giveaways there. I also have a platform called Magical Meals that I'm building. It's going to be my fun food creations, and where I teach you how to not only make healthy stuff, but imbue it with light and consciousness. I'm going to it's going to be a 21-day free trial, so people can join. And then it'll be a monthly membership of only $6.99 for the base platform. You can access my videos, but then I have other videos. I have a series called Consciousness Vitamins, which are 3 to 5 minute videos, which give you a new perspective about various aspects of life, like your finances, your body, your relationships. And it just gives you a higher perspective of how you can make resolve that area for your life so you can go make your greater impact. But it's going to be a membership based website with a lot of juicy goodies, a lot of printouts too. I have my what I call my perfect plate formula. And it's a diagram that shows you how to structure your meals. For most people, this I found serves people really well. And it's just a diagram. And sometimes when I give it to people, they're like, man, I wish I would have had this 10 years ago, because it makes it simplistic. Like, I always simplify the aspect of health, because society has made it very complex. And this person has their opinion, and this person has their opinion. Come back to center. It's much simpler. So I have these guides, these printout guides that make it much more simple, so you don't have to like go crazy trying to figure it out. And it does require exploration sometimes. Like we said with the body type, sometimes your constitution might need protein. It might need higher fat. Like for me, I'm high vibe. If I don't do protein and fat, I can't even have a conversation with you. Like literally, I can't even, my brain, I wouldn't even be able to be on this call right now if I didn't get the right nutrition. I've had moments where I was traveling in Thailand a few years ago, and I went 16 hours sometimes without getting my proper nutrition because I was traveling, and I couldn't even like talk to anybody. My brain wasn't functioning. I need higher vibe nutrition. And sometimes, it's something that most people would say, well, that's not healthy because that person said so. But what is your body saying? So for me, it's always pointing people back to themselves. What is your body saying? Forget about what Mr. Famous so-and-so over there said. What does your body say? Because Mr. Famous so-and-so does not know who you are, does not know your body type. And they're teaching a program maybe, and you don't know that. They're teaching a one-size-fits-all, which has proven now over 70 years doesn't work. A one-box-fits-all health paradigm doesn't work. Everyone's individual. You have a unique consciousness, you have a unique body type, but you also have a unique genetic blueprint, which will determine what you need for nutrition. And for me, I could pack down 10,000 calories in one day and I'll thrive. Another person, you give them 10,000, they feel all like, shoo, right? It's different constitutions, and you need to honor that. And some people want to argue, and I've had friends getting their butts whooped, and then they come to me and I tell them, and they're kind of like, I don't really want to go there. But why? Oh, because you have to eat some protein. Oh, okay. Because that person, that guru over there told you that's not healthy. But why are you coming to me asking me questions then? If this is so healthy, why aren't you blinged out? Why aren't you radiant? Why aren't you crushing it? And so what I see a lot of people too, is again, personal experience, but also in dealing with friends and clients, if you don't have your nutrition right, don't expect your life to flow. Don't expect to be happy and making your greatest impact. I've had friends, they were listening to someone on YouTube, and then I just step back and I go and I'm looking at them. They're seriously overweight. They're depressed and sad, and their life, they're not even close to living their truth. And I'm just looking at them going, well, what you're doing is nutrition is not giving your body, obviously you're overweight, you're depressed, and they could correct it within 2 days. They could correct it if they would listen to me. But see, I don't go there unless someone asks me, because I've learned it's a waste of my time and energy to try to convince someone. So this person is relying on this guru online. You've been following that for 3 years. Don't you think you'd be a lot further along? But again, I'm looking and just observing, and I've become a master at this topic because this is my mastery, because I chose it. And number one. Number two, I got my butt whooped for 15 years and I said, no more, I'm never doing that again. So I've learned how to be a master, not learning from a book or curriculum or certification, because I have had certifications in fitness training and sports nutrition. And guess what? Get out of my face. Those are a bag. No, that's not going to help people. We need soul wisdom coming through. We need people who are the masters, not the gurus, the masters who can validate with results. I can take any person, and I have great track record. Here, try these things in the next few days, get back to me. It's always, wow, I can't believe this is because you've been programmed to go against this. I've had people shifting within 10 minutes because my intuition's like, wait, forget everything else. Go here and try this because your body's screaming for this. Just do this for now and then we'll talk. How did you know? Because I'm listening. I'm intuitive. I'm feeling your field. I'm feeling the information in your field. Your body's telling me, oh my God, I need help, right?
Yeah.
And so all I'm doing is helping that person to inform their body, give them the right information, so their body can take over. And usually miracles happen, but society has taught you, nope, it's out there and it's in this box, it's in this paradigm. It's not the way to health. Go look out there. By the way, 8 out of 10 people are overweight, out of shape, or have some health condition. Those numbers continue to rise. I'm sorry to have to tell everyone, but within 10 years or less, probably less, it's going to be 10 out of 10 people who have a serious health condition. Because unless we correct the food supply and unless we start alchemizing our stuff, unless we connect more to the planet and start dissipating these chaotic electromagnetic frequencies, a lot of people are not going to make it. And I tell people this and they go, yeah. And then they go back to balls to the wall, running and gunning. I'm like, you're going to not feel too well in the next few years because you're not really honoring your body. I've seen a lot of conscious people. I go to a lot of networking events and it's about money and trying to build their business. And then I look at what they're popping in their body. And I'm like, you're going to have a rough time in the next 5 or 10 years. And then I come along and the universe presents me as a gift. I come along and go, oh, I can help you with you're overweight. I can help you with that. Hey, you got health conditions. I can help you with that. And guess what? They come up with excuses and they'll go, oh, I'll call you. And they never call. And it's like, okay, well, put your business and money first. And then in 10 years, you're going to pay a price. I say, pay it now. Learn how to take care of your holy temple, invest in your body and sacred temple, because investing in your business is probably not the best way to use your money and your resources right now. So, and I see it as a main even when I go to Facebook and I'm looking at all these people's profiles, there's a common theme. And you know, they're plugging their services. Then I look at them, 80% of these people are overweight, or I can tell something, they're not right in wellness. And then sometimes I'll have conversations with people being honest, and they're like, yeah, I could probably, you know, I'm not feeling too well, and here's the deal. And they start opening up because I'm very easy to talk to and I inspire people. And then it's like, aha, and this is a common theme. So people are either overweight or they're not feeling well, but they put it aside, see, because they got to produce, because society says you have to produce, you have to make money, which I get on one level, but on another, it's a butt backwards process. And at some point you're going to pay the price. Believe me, I had 15 years of health conditions, and there was a point I didn't think I was going to make it. Everything is for my holy temple. If this isn't vibing high, I can't be a force. I can't be productive. Forget the rest. Forget the millions of dollars. Forget the business. So everything is about taking care of this. And some people will be like, isn't that egotistical? Is it really? Or is it more egotistical to focus on your business and building money? This is your holy temple. This is a vibrating spiritual instrument. It's not a sack of meat like most people think. It's a living conscious thing. Why would you kill it? Why would you dump dead toxic stuff into it? So for me, you need to learn how to take care of this. And if even 50% of humanity could learn more about this, we'd have a miracle show up in this whole planet.
I think it's getting your priorities straight, right? And I think sometimes we get distracted and we get overwhelmed, and then you start not taking care of your physical body, and then that isn't going to help anything in the long run as you deteriorate, just like you're saying. Well, thank you so much for just sharing your passion and your light and your brilliance with our community. And definitely check Zerian's information out. I'm currently trying the sugar one, the masterclass on sugar. So, because we all know sugar is no good. So anyways, well, thank you so much. And we just so appreciate you being here.
Appreciate it very much. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you. And to close, are you ready to create the new you? Are you ready to transcend beauty and reprogram what it means to age? We invite you to learn more about how you can start resonating in the frequency of eternal youth and join the anti-aging revolution. Visit eternalgoldbeauty.com to find out how you can become the new you. Thanks everyone for joining us, and have an awesome day. Blessings.